Welcome to Efiwe, excellence without stress.
Welcome guys to Efiwe, excellence without stress. I am Miss Favor, your use of English teacher, and I am happy to be here. Today we'll be considering a very interesting topic. But before we get into it, just take a look at this. This girl is on fire. I know you're tempted to continue this song, but not to worry, we will continue right after the class. Now let's look at this line again. This girl is on fire. On fire is the highlighted phrase. Now in this line, Alicia Keys was not referring to literal fire, like a girl who is on fire, like a girl that is being burned by fire. No, on fire here means unstoppable or unbeatable, and it is this kind of expression that we refer to as an idiom. And that leads us to the topic of today, which is English idioms and figurative expressions. To understand our topic for today very well, we'll be looking at this content. Firstly, we'll be looking at definition of idioms and figurative expressions. Again, we'll look at examples of idioms and their meanings. And finally, we will look at questions and answers on idioms and figurative expressions. Let's get right into it. Definitions of idioms and figurative expressions. What is an idiom? Now, an idiom is a phrase or an expression which must be learned as a whole, because the meaning of the expression may differ from the meaning of the individual words. Now, what this simply means is that we do not interpret idioms literally. They have special meanings. We do not interpret them on the surface. We do not say that because on fire is a combination of on and fire, that means a girl is burning. Now look at this example. Our neighbor kicked the bucket last week. If we look at the expression kicked the bucket, there is no relationship between kicking the bucket and death. And that goes on to say that we do not know how the meanings that we have in English idioms, how they were arrived at. We have no idea, but they are just there. So now, when we are saying our neighbor kicked the bucket last week, we're not saying that your neighbor kicked a literal bucket, like your neighbor saw a bucket and then kicked it. That's not what we're saying. What this simply means is that our neighbor died last week. And then you must also note that in learning English idioms and figurative expressions, there's no magic to it. There's no particular formula. We can't say, okay, this is how you know the meaning of this particular idiom or this expression. No. You just learn by constant practice. So you learn by reading over and over again. Wherever you see idioms, wherever you see expressions, English expressions, you get to look for their meaning. That is how you learn. So now we'll look at some examples of idioms and their meanings. The first one we have head over heels. Head over heels. Remember I said earlier that we do not arrive at the meanings of idioms by looking at them literally. We do not say, oh, head, over, and heels. What type of heels? No, that's not what we're saying. Head over heels here means deeply or completely. So for instance, we could say she is head over heels in love with him. So that means she is deeply in love with him. The second one, we have nip in the bud. It means to stop something at the beginning stage. Once in a blue moon means rarely. So he visits us once in a blue moon. He rarely visits us. That means he does not visit us all the time. Keep the ball rolling means keep things going. It does not mean just keep rolling a ball on the street. To smell a rat means to be suspicious. To turn over a new leaf means to conduct oneself better. To turn the tables means to reverse the result. With a high hand means with arrogance. The lion's share means the largest part. Take to one's heels means to run away. Now there are several other examples of idioms, but we will stop here for now. So let's answer some questions on idioms and figurative expressions. Our first question says, he is now the megaphone of the people's oppressors. Look at the highlighted word, megaphone. Of course, you already know that we are not referring to a literal megaphone. Now, let's look at the options. A, he now speaks on behalf of the oppressors. B, he now carries the megaphone when the oppressors speak. C, he is now the oppressor with the loudest voice. D, he is the oppressor who now speaks with a megaphone. The correct option is A. When you say someone is a megaphone, that means that person speaks on behalf of other people. Number 2 question. The president stood his ground because the committee members would not be persuaded to arrive at a compromise on the issue being debated. Stood his ground. To stand someone's ground is to maintain their position. So we have options A to D. Option A, yielded his position. B, shifted his position. C, maintained his position. And D, defended his position. So to say that the president stood his ground is to say that the president maintained his position. So the correct option is option C. Number 3, Nana felt out of her element at the rally. What does it mean to feel out of someone's element? First of all, to be in someone's element, when you say she is in her element, that means the person is comfortable. So to be out of your element is to be uncomfortable. Now, we have options A to D. Option A, she is happy with the rally. B, she is uncomfortable at the rally. C, she is good at organizing rally. D, she is out to campaign for the rally. The correct option is option B. By saying that Nana felt out of her element, we simply mean that she is uncomfortable at the rally. Question number 4. Bala got a job by paying hush money. Hush money. What does hush money mean? It means bribe. Something you give someone, maybe for them to keep a secret or anything like that. So we have options A to D. Option A, Bala was well paid for the job. Option B, Bala gave a bribe to get a job. Option C, Bala stole money to pay for the job. Option D, Bala threatened them harshly. The correct option is option B. What we meant by saying that Bala got a job by paying hush money is that he gave a bribe to get a job. Question number 5. Advising Olu to break his bad habits is like knocking your head against a brick wall. Now, you already know that to knock your head against a brick wall does not mean to carry your head and go to the wall and then knock it against the wall. No. Now, let's look for the correct option. Option A, it is making a fool of you. Option B, it is trying the impossible. Option C, it is making him your enemy. Option D, it is making him to beat you. The correct option is option B. So advising Olu to break his bad habits is trying the impossible. When you're knocking your head against the brick wall, of course, your head is not stronger than the brick wall. So he's just doing something that is impossible. That is what advising Olu to break his bad habits is like. And that will bring us to the end of our lesson on English idioms and figurative expressions. Like I said earlier when this lesson started, there's no magic to learning English idioms and figurative expressions. You just have to keep on practicing them so that you can recognize them and their meanings when you find them in sentences. To answer more questions on idioms and figurative expressions, download our Efiwe app so that you can practice what you've learned. And I will see you in the next class. Thank you.